Welcome back to News Geelong. We'll head back into the football world at Cardinia Park, catching up with Geelong VFL midfielder Rob Condy. Rob, you've just come off arguably one of the best wins for the season against Sandringham. Tell us about what it was like for the Geelong VFL boys.
No, it was a great day, mate. It was tough conditions. It was a bit windy down there, as it always is, but look, we had a tight first quarter against the wind and sort of blew them away in the second half, so obviously a very big win for us.
Who do you think were the best players in your team's performance other than yourself?
Oh, yeah. No, the forward line did a great job to lock it in there. Kirsto came back for his first game and kicked half a dozen. Walks was dominant down forward as well. Started in the ruck with Westy, he was fantastic also, and all the boys in the midfield, Schroeder, Selwood, Corrigan and Dom Gleeson were fantastic too.
It was a very significant round off the field as well as on the field for the Geelong VFL side in terms of fundraising for the Casey Tatungi Fund. What did that mean to you, the significance of the weekend?
Oh, look, it hasn't just been this weekend. I think it's been a big few weeks. It's always something that you're thinking about every day, and obviously our thoughts are with Case every day, and whatever we can do for him, we will do and we'll continue to do. We're obviously trying to play the way that he played. Hopefully we can do that for the rest of the year.
Well, as a fellow midfielder, you'll hope to progress throughout the season. Next assignment will be Casey away. Tell us about the last time you two sides met.
Yeah, well, we played them down here. It was probably a couple of months back now. Look, they blew us away in the third quarter and kicked nine to about 2, and then we came back in the last and kicked about 9 as well, and we got done by 2 goals. So we're very evenly matched. A big ground out there at Casey. We won last year out there only by a couple of points, and then obviously the boys won out there in the finals. So it's going to be a great game. They're a very good side, so can't wait.
I mentioned it's the top of the table clash. I personally believe if you guys win this one for the city, you could be premiership, number 1 contenders. Tell me, what would it mean to you to have a VFL premiership medal around your neck at the end of the season?
Oh wow! Look, that's obviously a long road to go to get there. But look, if we keep him competing the way we are and being ruthless and doing the right things, anything can happen. Touch wood, we don't get any injuries and things like that. But look, the form that the boys are showing at the moment is really, really good, and it's very consistent. So let's hope for the best, and we can do that for a few more weeks.
Okay, I will admit I am getting a bit ahead of myself with these premierships, so we'll just focus on this weekend. Can you tell us where and when the Geelong VFL side will be playing?
Yeah, so the boys are down at Casey Fields on Sunday. I think it's a 2 o'clock start. So if everyone can get down there, and it's a fair drive, but make a weekend of it, and looking forward to getting the points. So
exciting times for the VFL side. Thank you very much, Rob.
No worries. Thank you.
Thanks for that, Rob. This top of the table clash with Casey looks like a thriller. Well, we'll return to Cardinia Park now, catching up with all things AFL with Geelong coach Chris Scott.
I'm speaking on behalf of the club and specifically the players. When I say that we're disappointed with the position that we've put ourselves in. We accept that the game is sometimes a line ball thing when it comes to these incidents, and in some respects the way these things are interpreted, especially with bumping and those sort of things, has changed to some extent, and we need to change with it. To stand up here and say, look, they've been really line ball, and it's not as if we've got a huge problem. They're all sort of 1, maximum 2 week things. Kind of misses the point a little bit. We've put ourselves in a position now where we need to be extremely careful. Now Pods he's hurt the team by not being available this week. So collectively, players, coaches, administrators within the Geelong Football Club, we need to make sure that we're working harder to address these things. And that's what makes it slightly more disappointing, I guess. If there's one positive to draw from it, and this is really clutching at straws, his carryover points after this weekend will be lower. But he's going to miss a really important game against good opposition in North Melbourne when he was in really good form and really helping the team. Yeah, we thought, except for his goal kicking on the weekend, he was absolutely outstanding. So we need to improve those little aspects of his game. But in terms of the way he's playing and attacking the ball and marking the footy, he does look to be getting himself into pretty good form coming into the finals. Well, I think it's always been a very fine line. Even going back to the great players of previous eras, they played the game on the edge and often slipped over the edge at times. The challenge for the really aggressive players is to make sure you stay on the right side of that line. If it gets to the point where we're being so careful that we lose that competitive edge, then we need to address that as well. But these things are in a constant state of evolution. We would like to think that we're always improving, we're always trying to educate our players, and we're always trying to make sure we stay up with the trends of the game as well. So clearly we need to do a slightly better job at educating our players. Down at Casey, it'd be good to have Chappie back. I'm a little bit wary of saying he's definitely going to play because we've said that a couple of times now, but I guess the point that we should re-emphasise is that we're taking an extremely cautious approach with him. We don't think it's come to the point where he's running out of time. We still have a program in place that gives him the opportunity to be right to force a way into our team pre-finals. But as I've said a couple of times, and he's fully aware of this, that's not a given. Yeah, and even he said, look, it's better to make a mistake on the side of being a little bit cautious at the moment. We did that. He was involved in that decision-making process as well. So hopefully that means that he's in a better position to play this week. Yeah, Dawson needs surgery. He's got significant damage to his MCL. The ACL and the PCL are in very good condition. The ACL's not interrupted at all. There is a slight bit of damage to his PCL, but nothing significant, and a little bit of bone bruising as well. So the initial prognosis is 6 to 8 weeks, which obviously is disappointing for everyone. Dawson was shattered after the game because he's had some setbacks. He's had 2 bouts of back surgery the previous 2 seasons, and to be honest, early in the season he was a fair way away from AFL selection. So to get to the stage where he not only forced his way in but was performing at a very high level makes it all the more disappointing. But I'd just like to reinforce to Dawson in particular that our club, especially in recent times, has a very good record of looking after those players that do the right thing and live the right values, and have some bad luck. So we'll certainly stand by Dawson. I'm wary of saying that because every situation at a club is different. It's a decision that we made largely on the back of the uncertainty we had around Dawson with his back and Nathan Vardy with a serious hip injury. We didn't really envisage Mark Blitzarves developing to the point where he's a capable AFL ruckman. So there were extenuating circumstances to us having so many ruckmen on our list, and we look back now and say, yeah, that was probably a good decision. But I think it's a little bit arrogant to say that we've proved to the competition that that's the right way to go. Well, I think given the way he's come back from layoffs in the past, I don't have too many doubts that he could come back into AFL level, after missing 2 or 3 matches and have an immediate impact. But the dialogue internally is more around what's best for him longer term. Has he done enough work to make sure that his hamstring can, withstand the rigours of an AFL game, particularly inside at Etihad, where it's a fast track and it'll be a quick game. Look, I'm confident that he'll play, but there may be an approach over the next couple of days that is a little bit more cautious, and that might mean that we bring him back through the VFL. Yeah, especially at Etihad, because your defence needs to be really solid because it tends to be a fast game. The ball handling's clean. You can't afford to be that 1 or 2 seconds off inside. And I think they've shown that they can score heavily against anyone, particularly inside. So it is going to be a genuine test. Melbourne aren't having a great season, but to beat any opposition by 122 points shows that they've got some serious scoring capacity, and we do. We really value our defence. We think, especially down at Geelong, we've been hard to score against. It's been hard for the opposition to get the ball inside 50, but even though I think last time we kept North to 42 inside 50s, they scored a lot once they got inside, so that's going to be a big test for us. No, he's not close to playing as in this week or next week, but we certainly haven't ruled out the possibility that he could be available to play before the end of the season, or certainly pre-finals, which means that there is some chance that if it all goes really well and he comes back and shows that he can cover the ground and he's fit enough, then that might be another option we've got up our sleeve. But it's certainly an uphill battle for Hamish. Yeah, I can't confirm the actual day, but yeah, that surgery is imminent. The first bout of surgery went well. He's been through the recovery process, and I think the really pleasing thing for us and for Dan and our supporters in particular is that in conversations with the surgeon, he doesn't see any reason why this shouldn't be just treated as a normal ACL reconstruction with a normal recovery period, and then he can come back and be somewhere near his best, which is I know that might sound optimistic given Dan's history, but we can only go by the best medical advice, and that is that he's every chance to come back next year and be somewhere near the Dan Mensley was. Yeah, I mean he's got some obstacles in front of him, obviously. So, the mental break was really important for him as well. To get away and sort of clear his mind to an extent. And I think the biggest part about being overseas was no one recognised him, and he didn't get asked about his knee for a few months, which is a good thing. So, yeah, he's a remarkably resilient young man. He's very confident in his own ability, and he's going to need that because he's got some obstacles to get over. He's going to have to confront those mental demons at some stage. But of all the young people I've met in footy, I'd have the most confidence in men's to come back. Yeah, well, it was a long time ago when we played them early in the season, but they were 41, 42 points up against us, and I thought we were playing pretty good footy at the time. We had a really successful NAB Cup campaign. We beat Hawthorn round 1, and in a half of footy they just dominated us. They still have an extremely young list. They have some experienced players, but the majority of the 22 they put out each week are sort of under 100 games, and it seems that they do have some lapses in games that I would assume won't happen when they get a little bit more experience. So the challenge for us is to take away their strengths and their scoring power, particularly early in the game, and then back that we can be a little bit more consistent when the heat's really on.
Thanks for that, Chris. And that is it for sport this Friday evening. Thanks for joining us, and I'll see you on the Geelong District League footy show tomorrow morning. Till then, back to the studio with you, Rollo.
Thank you, Alex. See you next week with more of the Geelong sporting action. If you're on the punt this weekend, you should have collected enough from last week's tip from Uncle Jim to continue on tomorrow, or at Moonee Valley, or as some people call it, Money Valley. You'll have to wait for race 8, number 1. It's called Overtake, to be ridden by promising apprentice Josh Cartwright, who claims 3 kilos. It looks promising. From all the team at News Geelong, thank you for being with us once again. Don't miss the girls of the Geelong and District Footy League netball tomorrow morning at 8 o'clock, followed by Digital Dick and the team on the Geelong and District Footy League footy show. And by the way, the little insect grubbications has not been 100% over recent weeks, so get well soon, Grubby. Digital Dick and your clan of loyal followers are missing you. And remember, take your time and smell the flowers. Have a safe and pleasant week and a very good night.